Hey everybody, it's
Hey,
us. We're
it
back.
me, it's she.
I'm Michelle,
I'm Preston.
and we're back at it again with 2 new stories.
Yeah, same place, same time, same everything, except new stories.
Exactly.
Exact.
Yeah, so what happened last time again?
Well, last time we got to meet that saved the main, and then they took them back. We
Yeah,
got to. You're like, do I know what your story was
it was,
about?
yes, it was,
Was it Alan? Alan! Al! Alan! I don't think you need me, Alan! 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 Al! Alan! 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 Alan!
Yeah. All right,
excellent.
so that's what happened last time, and if you weren't here for that, then go listen to last week's episode.
Always good fun.
Yeah, so don't forget, you guys can catch us on Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Listen Notes. If you guys don't have the Podbean app, or just, if you already have one of those apps, you might as well just look us up there. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you like what we do here, if you like our episodes, go ahead and share them with your families.
And your friendlies.
Your families and your friendlies.
Yeah.
All right, let's start.
Yeah, let's start.
Yeah.
All right, so first up, we have Michelle reading a story written by me. Go.
Do you say go?
I say go.
Okay. Here you go. And go. The prompt last week was: you wake up on an island that's surrounded by a sea of clouds, with nothing but the clothes on your back and a fairy ferry. The story is called A Place Called Home. My eyelids started burning, and a mix of bright red and white was starting to coat my vision. I opened my eyes to find myself lying on a huge beach that was stretched farther than I could see in both directions. The sun was large and radiating those bright waves of sunshine, but the temperature felt perfect. The cool breeze ran over the clouds. There was no water around me, but instead a sea of clouds everywhere. I knelt down to the edge of the sand and carefully put my hand into the clouds to see what they felt like. My hand passed through them easily, but my forearm was now wet. This was so unreal. How did I end up here, and why are there clouds? I must have died. That's right. That's the only logical explanation. Hey! Hey, listen! A small voice had been trying to get my attention the entire time I was puzzled in thought. Spinning around looking for the voice, I was even more confused because now I was hearing things that weren't there. Hey, I'm right over here! The small glowing person with wings floated up in front of my face close enough that I could feel the small gusts of wind beating from their wings. Oh, hello. Sorry, I did not see you there. You are quite easily missed, I said without realizing. They quickly kicked the tip of my nose and pouted. Well, that is awfully rude of you to say. Not all of us can be towering and menacing. After apologizing profusely and getting things smoothed out, I asked, did you bring me onto this island? They looked at me confused. No, I did not. I thought you kidnapped me until I noticed you had seemed just as weirded out about all this as I am. As we sat there together discussing what we had last remembered before waking up here, I started by letting them know that the place I come from is being ravaged by war, and I had wished upon a star to get out of here and be safe. They then informed me that their magic is weaker than all of the others in their village, so they were constantly bullied and had also made a wish to leave. Well, I'm going to see if I can go through the clouds and make it back home, since I can fly. Have fun on the island. They floated up and flew down straight into the sea of clouds, their tiny body disappearing immediately upon entering the fluffy white puffs. Suddenly, a huge rumbling sound came from the clouds, and there was a dark shadow underneath getting bigger and bigger, until this huge boat emerged. What happened to me? How am I a giant now? The boat started to ask. What did you do? Did you get upset that I was leaving you on the island alone and you cursed me? It just occurred to me that this boat was the small fairy from before. Just confirming here, are you the fairy from just a moment ago? I did not curse you, but this looks more like a blessing than anything. Let me hop on and we can go find our homes together. The fairy sighed, and a long wooden staircase emerged from the side of the boat. Taking that as an invitation, I quickly ran up the stairs and headed to the front of the boat. We sailed for a while through the clouds, not seeing another island or anything in sight. In fact, if we looked behind us, we could only see the island we left, as the distance was not changing. Perhaps the currents were so strong here that we were moving at a snail's pace, or the island was floating with us in this direction. Whatever the case may have been, it started getting darker, and we agreed that turning back and staying on the island would be safer at this point. By the way, my name is Aster, the little fairy announced, as it glanced over, conjuring up a fire for us. Ah, right, my name is Robin. I nodded at them, smiling. I'm really glad that you are here, though, Aster. I can't imagine being on an island all alone. They fluttered over and landed on my hand, patting it to comfort me. I'm glad you're here, too. We've known each other only a few hours, and you're already treating me so much better than everyone else from my village. Aster looked down with a sigh. I wonder if this place knew my true desire. When I left earlier, I really didn't want to go back home. I understand. I don't want to go back either. I do miss everyone back home, but I'm scared of what's happening there. We both laid in the sand thinking about our hometowns and the way that it made us feel. The way we felt unsafe in our own beds. Somehow, out here, whisked away to what seems like a fantasy island with no semblance of safety, feels relaxing and calming. It was odd to us both that we haven't seen any movement or heard any noises yet from the jungle area off the coast of the beach. We just accepted it as it was and fell asleep. The sand was so warm and comfortable, it just wrapped around us like a mother's embrace, while listening to the sounds of the cloudy sea washing away our negative thoughts. By the time morning rolled around, we had felt incredibly hungry and decided it would be best to check the jungle area for any kind of food. Carefully, we got up from the beach and made our way to the clearest entrance of the thick bushes. The trees and plants all smelled so sweet, and they looked like nothing either of us had ever seen before. Look at these! Aster had grabbed some berries and a plant and began eating them right away. Aster, what if those are poisonous? We need to be careful, I exclaimed while reaching towards the berries to inspect them. Don't worry about that. My special power is being able to detect disease and sickness from everything. These all show up clear in my radar. Go ahead and try them. I was already on this island without any way of going back, so if I die, I die. I closed my eyes and took a bite of the berry. The sweetest flavor kissed my cheeks from the inside. This was exquisite. Nothing like this has ever been tasted before in my life. We continued through the jungle collecting a lot of different fruits and plants. Strange though, still no animals, and not even a bug in sight. The island definitely felt like it had been lonely. Well, I guess I know why we got sent here. You and I are both hidden treasures with no one to appreciate us, just like this island, I joked to Aster. The wind blew through the trees and made a whimsical ruffling sound as if the trees were laughing with us. This definitely felt like paradise. As we continued walking, there was a bright light up ahead through the bushes. Stepping out of the bushes into the light, we had made it to a large clearing with the sunlight shining straight down from above us. The plants and grass all reflected the sun as if it was glowing this marvelous radiating light. Hey Aster, would you be willing to be my business partner? I looked over at them with a smile. Business? What kind of business? They questioned. I'm thinking we can start up a resort here. Look at the space, and the taste of the fruits, the scent of the air. Everything is just perfect. I twirled around with my arms out and a bright look of excitement on my face. Aster did not share the sentiment with me. Their face looked uncertain and scared. I don't think I can. You're a human. Your people just destroy and corrupt everything they get their hands on. If you could see your face right now, it's the face of greed. How could I help you destroy another perfect place? My arms fell to my side and I was looking up at the sky still. Tears started to slowly slide down my cheeks, thinking about the war happening at home, and how it lines up perfectly with what Aster had explained. But at the same time, it hurts that I'm being pegged as the same as those people who would desecrate the earth for their own greed and ruin the lives or even take the lives of others, just because they were commanded to do so. We silently made our way back to the beachside with all of the food we had foraged. You know, it's a bit unfair, Aster. Fairies are all about trickery and being mischievous. Hell, even your own people bullied you and toyed with you. Not for 1 second did I think you were anything like them. Do you really think we were sent here to this island because we are monsters? Or do you think we were sent here to build a community to save people like us from the monsters of their own society? I carefully laid out the food supply and took a walk down the coast. Sitting out by the clouds, watching the night sky filled with stars twinkling above me and the moon so giant shining down, I started to ponder on what the next steps are. Can I just live here like this with Aster feeling this way towards me? Should I move to the other side of the island and just never see them again? The more I thought about this, the lonelier I began to feel. This familiar feeling from my home that I longed to escape from, eating away at my core. I brought my knees up to my chest and put my head into my arms, cradling myself, until I felt a familiar warmth. Looking up from my knees, Aster was sitting on my arm, smiling and patting me. I'm sorry, I should never have said that. Taking a look at you is my special ability. I don't see the disease of corruption in your body. Tell me what you plan to do, and if I think it sounds like a great business proposition, I will agree to be your partner. We spent most of the night talking about the plans to build a resort here that interferes as little as possible with the natural layout of the land. We also decided to test something out the next day, as it was a theory I had about this island. The night went by so fast, not just because of the fun we had discussing the future, but because we realized together that we could have a future this bright, filled with laughter and companionship. In the morning, Aster had jumped into the clouds again and sprung back up as a giant boat, which was an ability that they had not even realized they had until we got here. Alright, are you ready to concentrate and really want it? I asked Aster. Yep, we gotta concentrate on where we want to go and what we're looking for. The both of us focused, thinking of the same thing. Please show us the way to another person like us that can help us with our resort. As we wished and wished, setting sail forward, the boat started to descend into the clouds. Once we got through the majority of the fluff, we could see that we were going down a cloudy ramp towards a landmass that seemed to be bustling with activity. Upon docking, Aster turned back into their fairy form. Exploring this land, we quickly had come to find that this village was a town of brownie folk. We set out, talking to everyone and asking around if anyone is willing to come work with us. Unfortunately, due to the usefulness of brownies, they were all scared that we were taking them to enlist them into slavery. We had almost given up on our search, but the island wouldn't have directed us here if there wasn't something waiting for us. As the sky transitioned over from the golden evening sun to the cool tones of the night sky, we began looking for a place to stay. Rumors already had begun spreading from our questioning earlier, and we were not welcome to stay anywhere in town. There was a large hotel-like building near the outskirts which we headed over to, as it seemed like it would house us as long as we had something of value to trade. Upon reaching the building, it was surrounded by a huge metal gate, and the building was run down and crumbling. We opened the gate and made our way inside, calling out to anyone in the building. Hello? Is anyone there? We are looking for a place to stay the night. No response. We made ourselves comfortable on the sofas in the lobby and eventually passed out. The next morning, a cold chill had awoken me. Springing up and looking around, the layout of the building had changed from what it was last night. It looked somehow cheerier than it was, and less crumbly. Hello? Sorry that we slept on your couches. We tried to request a room. I kept shouting. Aster woke up, rubbing their eyes and yawning. Still no one to take our bags and check us in? They asked tiredly. As Aster looked around, they noticed something. Hey, Robin, there's people here for sure. I can kind of see them, but it looks like they're hiding. Aster pointed towards the check-in counter. Suddenly, two identical young women appeared and gasped in shock. How did you know we were here? They said in unison. After explaining to them the situation, and Aster explained that nothing can hide from their eyes, the faces of the two women lit up. Can we come? They excitedly held each other's hands and made a pleading face towards us. Aster and I looked at each other and shrugged, then accepted their request. We will wait for both of you outside the gates, so please let us know when you're ready, I informed them as we opened the door. Oh, don't worry, we are ready. They both ran out with us, and upon reaching the gate, the two women held their hands and closed their eyes. A swirl of light engulfed the house and disappeared. Then the lights floated into their chests. All right, we are all packed. They happily began walking to the docks, as Aster and I stood shocked. Upon getting to the docks and having had the chance to understand more about the two women, Molly and Polly, who happened to be Selkies, Aster leapt into the water and sprung up as a large ship once more. The sisters were both shocked but happily surprised by this and jumped onto the boat. Aster started to move away from the island, and the clouds pulled us up again into the sky. Upon arriving back on the island, I immediately escorted the sisters through the jungle to the large clearing where they then looked at each other before nodding and holding hands again. The same light swirled around them this time, and then the large building from before appeared in the center of the land. Hey, Molly, Polly, this isn't the same building from the island before, I inquired. Well, you see, this is what the building looked like before when we were getting visitors. As Selkies, we are deeply attached to the building we are taking care of. However, as there was no one coming to see us and the villagers were all scared of us, we grew into a state of despair, and that took a toll on our home. However, after seeing you and Aster, that lifted our spirits and restored our energy, they explained. We now had a building to house all of the people that would be coming to the resort, but we still lacked a lot of manpower. Day after day, Aster and I went out in search of people to bring back here, and we found many different kinds of people. The spa was run by a mermaid, the head chef of the kitchen was a phoenix. So many different races and species had begun working here in harmony, each with their own story of why they wanted to escape their old lives and start anew. Hey Aster, do you think we should open the resort? I asked with a smile. Of course we should! This place is amazing! We should let everyone experience this! Isn't that why we gathered everyone up? Aster asked with excitement. I'm starting to wonder if maybe this place should just be our paradise. Less of a resort, more of a community, a home. Aster looked at me and smiled, then continued. It does feel very warm with all of these people here, doesn't it? And I want to share that with more people. Maybe it will show people that hate and violence ultimately solves nothing, and their wars can be fixed with love. With that sentiment in mind, Aster and I sailed to multiple realms, spreading the word of our resort, and that anyone looking for a place to forget their troubles for a moment, to relax, is welcome. For a single week every month, we would sail around picking up passengers that were interested and bring them back to the resort. Those that tried to stir up trouble, the clouds would engulf and they would disappear. But those that truly enjoyed the experience went back to their homes refreshed and renewed. As the years passed and our community grew larger and larger, we had heard that the realms below us were seeing more peaceful days. The islands that brought Aster and me together to create something new and wonderful had somehow expanded as well, as if it were alive. No, it is alive. We always felt it, and it always felt us. The island would provide us and all of its visitors with happiness and tranquility while eating all of the negativity away from our hearts. In the end, we were all connected, happy and at peace.
Yeah.
Yeah, aw, that was nice.
Yeah. So it was fun. It was fun. It was cute.
It was cute. It was definitely cute.
Just to give you guys an idea of what goes on in Aster's backstory, not only were they just picking on them and bullying them, but they would, Aster went into it with Robin and explained the whole situation, but you guys weren't privy to the conversation, so I'm just gonna let you know. But they would, rip their wings out and then heal them back again over and over just because they like torturing them. So...
There's, no fairy, teachers? What the hell?
Fairy teachers. Do teachers have actual power and authority?
There's no fairy police.
No.
What kind of lawless fairies?
All fairies.
Well, shit.
And with the two sister Selkies. So for those of you that don't know what a brownie is, basically they're like household elves, kind of. Something like what Dobby is, you know. However, if you give a piece of clothing to them, they leave not out of gratefulness and stuff and whatever, and you set them free, but out of an insult and offense. Like, there's like, you just gave me clothing, are you saying that what I'm wearing isn't good enough? Do you even know what this is? This is Chanel. Like, I wear whatever I want. Okay,
you see how it rag up? That's the style.
That's the style. You
That's
know
what
nothing.
We wear down here.
And like, people have always like said that brownies were like human size. They have fur all over them, things like that. They do household chores. If you do try to kick them out of your house by giving them stuff, they will leave and take all the prosperity in the house with them. So they will like destroy everything that they did. So they'd be like, oh, see those floors that I washed? Taking those with me, destroying it. See that wall that I've cleaned? Taking it down, done. You saw how I swept the whole house? Dust. And then they leave with it. And yeah. But,
see that wall? Taking it down.
Yeah, taking it down.
Call me Mr. Construction Worker.
Exactly. But you see, a Selkie, on the other hand, is more of a spirit, not so much a living entity the way that like a brownie is, but they're same in the sense that they take care of the house and do chores. However, a Selkie is attached to the home, not to the family that resides in the home.
Yeah, okay. So, what was your favorite part when you were writing?
That's a hard one. I was thinking about like all the different fruits and stuff and all the ways like on the island. I wanted to get into it a little bit further and let you guys know that like there's only an abundance of fruits and vegetables and plant life, like literally limitless. And some of the fruits, when you cut them open, they look like meat inside, like steaks and stuff. So they have the flavor of meat. They have the flavor of everything. They have like berries that are candy. And just coming up with the idea of what this island was like and picturing it in my mind and seeing everything, that was my favorite part. So just kind of explaining what kind of paradise this place is in general.
I like the part where Aster went into the clouds and came back up as a boat. And they're like, what is going on? What did you do? What did you do? Because, I mean, that's very realistic. I like he caught the realism of that. If I went underwater and came up as a boat, I would also... What is this? What have you done?
Good. I knew you liked that part. I knew you did.
Yeah, I like that part. That was cute, though.
Yeah, I'm glad you liked it. I hope everybody else liked it too, listening in, doing the thing. Just everyone on the island. Do you want to go to the island? Secret about the island, just in case you guys are not sure because you want to go there, but you don't know if you want to go there. There's actually, like, in the core of the island, it's just amassing all that negative energy that's taken from everybody, so it's literally taking it from them. And all the people that try to cause trouble, the clouds grab them and brings them down there and just sucks that energy from their body day to day until they're nothingness.
Negative energy? From the people who try to cause trouble?
Yeah.
How much negative energy can be in there?
So the negative energy then converts into, like, the nourishment for the island. So it's automatically replenishing everything. So when you pluck a fruit, a new fruit will grow right away because negative energy.
So aren't they just eating people?
No, they're eating energy that's been purified. Think of the island as a giant liver.
Okay, but if the island is taking out all the energy of something until it's nothing, doesn't that mean that they're eating that person?
No, they're just eating the energy.
Okay, what happens to the rest of the person then?
Oh, they just disintegrate.
So they don't get absorbed, they just turn into ash.
Yeah, they just...
Alright.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah. So go ahead, visit the island. We're always welcoming at everybody. But now, we get to find out what happens if you do cause trouble and the island eats you, or if you just end up dying, because...
Or that was a smooth segue.
Yeah.
So you could either get eaten by the island or just die.
Or just straight up die.
Smooth as
So for Michelle's story, her prompt was that you are the gatekeeper to the afterlife. The gates would represent heaven, hell, and then one is a surprise door. One day, your replacement shows up. This story is called The Gatekeeper. Old, dying, born, young, grow. Old, dying, born, young, grow. Old, dying, born, young. Everything is stuck in this cycle. An ever-flowing, always moving cycle, repeating over and over again. I wasn't sure when it was that I dropped out of the cycle, and I wasn't sure if I could consider myself free, because I had been there for the longest time, never moving. The only thing keeping me company was my own thoughts. There were no birds, no insects, there wasn't even any wind. There was nothing except the tree and its doors. I had volunteered to become the keeper of the gates right after I died. I thought that if I did this, I would be able to keep all the memories I had of my life. But by now, I had forgotten all of them. I couldn't remember my name. I couldn't remember where I came from or how I got there. And I couldn't even remember what my own face looked like, or use anything to see it. Even though I had forgotten everything from when I was alive, I never felt remorse or sadness. The tree and its gates were the only things I knew now, and that in itself was comforting. I wasn't living in the cycle anymore. I was outside watching it, under this enormous tree being bathed in sunlight for all eternity. It was beautiful, and I was always at peace. This was my heaven. I was able to watch all things pass through the doors, even things that I didn't think would be able to pass through. They appeared to me as orbs of flying light who were just going about their business. I guarded 2 doors. One led to heaven, and one led to hell. If I remembered anything from being alive, it was the concept of heaven and hell. I didn't remember what they were about, or what their purpose was. I also didn't remember whether or not you could choose between the 2 places. What did it matter in a cycle of rebirth? But still, the orbs organized themselves into whichever door they had to go through. The gatekeeper's job was to make sure that nothing escaped the gates. The gates were final. They were the law of the world. Once the choice was made, regardless of who made it, that was where they stayed until the cycle was ready for them again. Since I had been here, nothing had ever even tried to escape the doors. I didn't know which door was which because they both looked the same. The roots of the tree formed a little archway around the wooden gateway. I'd never seen them open either. The orbs just floated through the closed doors. I was sitting on one of the immense roots of the tree, staring at the orbs passing through the doors without opening them, thinking about which door was which, when I heard the sound of something nostalgic. I knew I'd heard it before, and it resonated with my body, and it made my heart beat faster. Footsteps. I turned to see something ethereal approaching me. It was emitting a glowing white light, and it was moving extremely slowly. With every step, it radiated time and space. It was surrounded by orbs that seemed to just want to be in its presence, as if they were trying to be its friends. I had never seen anything besides me and the orbs, and every once in a while, the leaves of the tree move at all. And here was this thing coming towards me. I watched it, and it seemed to be watching me as well. I wanted to see what door it was going to go through, and if it would open the door so I could finally take a look inside. But when it finally reached close enough, it stopped with its stare glued to me. I am a piece of time, and I have come to tell you, who doesn't know me, that it is time. It spoke without moving a single part of its bear-like face. Waiting for a response, it sat up on its hind legs, exposing a white belly that was swirling with different energies. I had forgotten how to speak or use my mouth at all. I had forgotten that speech was a thing. I stared at the being as it shifted from being a bear into a white fox with a tail that towered over it and faded into the sun. You must pick a door and go through, it finally said when I didn't budge. Was it telling me I had to leave? Why? Your time here is over. Oh. I suddenly remembered that the gods at the time had told me that this was a temporary role. But I didn't want to leave. I wanted to stay here. The next phrase out of your mouth will decide what door you go through, it said. With that, I felt compelled to say something, and I suddenly remembered how to talk. I want to stay here. My voice was alien to me, and it echoed off the tree into the sky and back down again, reverberating through to the colossal roots I was sitting on. It had its gaze fixed on me still, and didn't even flinch when the roots of the tree began to shake, and the tremors started to make the floor beneath us, which was a white void, crack. It was a turtle now, and even though the roots of the ancient tree were uprooting themselves right before our eyes, it still had its eyes on me and did not move. There was the sound of creaking, straining wood as the roots moved. They seemed to be making way for something coming up from the floor. I was thrown from where I was sitting on the roots, and had almost plummeted down into one of the cracks in the white void. Before I was cast into the abyss, I felt something cold and leathery wrap around my waist, then my wrist, then my other wrist, stopping me from reaching for my blade. The gods had given me something that even humans could wield in case anything ever got out of the gates, but I had never gotten the chance to use it until now. Looking into the abyss below the void, now it was probably better that this leathery thing stopped me from taking out my blade. It held me over the abyss for a bit, as if it was contemplating dropping me, then it raised me higher in the sky than I had ever been. The glowing being was now a deer, with antlers that had reached all the way up to where this thing was holding me. I shifted my gaze to look right below me, and there I saw a third door. This one was twice the size of the two doors put together, and it was pitch black, blacker than the abyss beneath me. It was so dark I could barely make out the lines of the leathery ropes coming from it that were holding me directly above it. You were just a human. You could never have guarded all the gates at once. We just had to give you the 2 doors you had knowledge of at the time. It explained, but I was still not understanding. I can hear an exasperated sigh come from its beak, as it was now a crane with wings that encircled as far as my eyes could see. The leathery ropes were holding me high in the sky, but not higher than the tree and low enough that I could see the glowing figure. Even with your lack of understanding, you did well to guard these 2 gates in this time. We were in a bind and you offered your aid. You can't stay here as you are now. So as thanks, I will send you to learn what you don't know. As it finished its sentence, I was pulled into the giant black door at a neck-breaking speed. And if it hadn't been for the fact that my body was more sturdy than a regular human's, I'm sure my head would have flown off my shoulders. I plunged into the darkness and was surrounded by a cold, suffocating sensation that didn't last long. Next thing I knew, I was floating in a dark abyss, but it was different from the one under the white void, because in that darkness were more doors. So many doors that they looked like stars. My eyes widened as it dawned on me. There was still so much I didn't know. There was so much to do. Here, time was boundless, and I could experience everything. I was overjoyed at the gift the glowing entity had given me, and as I floated over to the first door and took the handle, I whispered aloud to myself, "There are endless possibilities," and floated through the door.
Yeah. What'd you think? It's good?
There's a lot of doors. There's a lot of doors.
Plenty
that is very
doors.
interesting how that happened.
Yeah?
Yeah, because it's like, what was the third door? And then it's just like, oh, damn, that was the door to everything. That was the door of, like, knowledge and life and existence itself. It was the door of answers. Oh my god.
That just made sense to me that the last door would have, like, other doors. Why wouldn't it?
Why wouldn't it? It's a door of doors. Goes to the door. Windows! Oh, I had the opportunity and I just completely squandered. It was really good. I like that there was like the tree of life there hanging out. This creature, do you have like lore behind the creature that you want to go over with us?
No.
Oh, okay. Just a being.
Yeah, it really is just like a being.
I just thought it was going to be one of those things where it's like, hey guys, this over here is actually a mythological creature from blah 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 blah, where it would change its form and guide people in the afterlife. Like, oh, that's cool. But it's just it is what it is, and that's also cool.
Yeah, no, I just made it up.
Good.
Yeah, no, so in my head it's basically like a ever shifting form that has like magic just coming off of it, and like when it's a bear, its tummy is swirling energies. When it's a crane, its wings are probably swirling energies. When it's a fox, its tail is swirling energies. Like that kind of deal. So I don't know. To me, the character is like an embodiment of death.
Okay.
In that the character wanted to become a gatekeeper in order to keep its memories and therefore basically keep itself alive. Mm-hmm. But in the end, they lost all their memories, effectively, realistically dying. Because if they don't remember who they are, where they came from, they don't remember their name, they don't even know what their own face looks like, then the person they were before doesn't really exist anymore.
Interesting.
So in an attempt to like keep their memories, they lost them anyway just because they were alive for so long.
Yeah.
And but they were still happy with where they were.
Yeah, there's no uncertainty. You have the tree. You just do your thing.
Yeah, it's just another one of those characters that are like they're just living in the moment. They're living in these tree roots, or just hanging out with the tree, or just watching all these orbs pass on, go through the cycle, and they're just enjoying the tree and the sunlight, and they're good. They're just like, this is fine. But then obviously the god came by and was just like, okay, so we can't keep you here all the time because you only have the ability to guard 2 doors when we literally have like billions. And so you're going to have to go, and the idea is kind of that the god sent them off to learn, right? And then hopefully for the character, they'll be able to learn enough to come back and become a real full-fledged guardian of the gates.
But will it be a guardian, or will they become a god as well?
I don't know.
This is the thing. The way I saw it is like, okay, you sent them through the Black Abyss door, which gives them the timelessness to study everything, pop back out a god.
I mean, I feel like they would likely stay a human, because all that's really required to be a guardian is the knowledge and the time. So you don't really need to be a god. Like, you don't need to have all godly powers. You could technically be a human. In my world, anyway. You can technically just be a human with knowledge and time, and then be enough to guard the gates. So,
well,
like, you never...
The thing that I'm trying to figure out is, like, if there's more doors and they're only guarding 2, is it that, like, being a human, even in this realm... if the doors that they actually bring them up to guard the other ones are like scattered, like are the doors to be protected in that black door, or is that just a place to teach them?
Yeah, so the doors are in the black door. So basically it's all the doors are in the black door, but they were only able to bring out 2 for the human to guard.
Okay, so then eventually they will put the 2 back down there. When the human's ready, if the human's ready. Yeah,
so I also had an idea that the tree, each one of the branches would have like a door.
Yeah.
It would just be like something like maybe every leaf is a door, or something like that. So eventually, I don't know if they'll get god abilities to just automatically know where all the doors are at once, or if the doors would come out one by one and become like a piece of the tree, so that once that tree is full of doors, then the person can come back and be like, okay, I know everything. Can I be a guardian now?
Can I guardian, please? Thanks.
I like this tree so much.
This tree is so lush.
So good tree.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. I always like thinking about like what is happening in like another part or time of everything. Like, You know what I mean?
No.
Like, okay, so how we have our stories written out, and then like I like having that knowledge of we've built, for every single story, we've built a world that goes along with it. And discussing the intricacies of each world, even though we haven't written them down into the story itself, is just showing everybody how far in depth we've thought about these places. And that's what I like.
Yeah. I mean, for this one, out of all the stories I've written so far, I think this one I thought the least. Mm-hmm. I just kind of really went with the flow with this one, because it was like, it's very, very simple. It's just our first character is like, okay, this is how I am. This is what I do. This is my tree. God shows up and is like, okay, you gotta go. And then everything starts crumbling. And that's basically the story. You know what I mean? Exactly. So I went really simple with this, and there's not much events that happen, but there's still so many things in it that I like. Like, I liked explaining the god. I liked showing that there is more than just the 2 doors, and that the character's understanding of death and the cycle, even though they come off as knowing everything, in the end the god shows up. Okay, so you don't know anything.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
That's great. That's good. I like this. So, does that mean that you're ready for your prompt for next week?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how that means I'm ready, but I'm ready. I've been ready.
It means that you're ready to break the cycle and find out about the rest of life. So, what's your prompt for me?
My prompt for you is a little kid that saves the world by coloring.
Okay. All right. That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways that this can go.
I had a dream about that.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. So, my prompt for you, just to fall in line with, the holy emissaries we are from the heavens and all that good stuff. Being that we are both omnipotent, we are going to have a squabble over the best dessert. And then we're going to start a war on Earth.
We're gonna squabble about desserts and then kill everyone. Gotcha. So this is what's gonna happen. We're gonna squabble amongst ourselves. We're gonna decide that, I don't know, anything is best. And then we're gonna be like, that worked up a sweat. Let's go kill the humans.
Essentially, it's gonna be like, you know what? I think that this hemisphere agrees with me that this dessert is better. So we're gonna go and destroy your hemisphere, alright?
Yeah, cool. So we're gonna get into a fight and involve the humans. We're not gonna Zeus anybody, right?
Well, it depends. Zeusing someone can mean so many things, considering Zeus is a hoe.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I mean, maybe. It depends.
We're gonna have one of them stories you gotta pay for.
Yeah. Speaking of which, so although it's not next week, but the following week of May 6th, that is going to be the week of our live. So for everybody tuning in, we're giving you 2 weeks notice to clear your schedules, sit down, download your Podbean apps, and come chat with us while we are reading, and while we're also just chatting, have some good time with us. Enjoy the conversation in the community.
Yeah. I love talking to people about rich dreaming.
Yeah.
I like getting people's feedback on the stories right away and everything like that, because I just want to keep improving and writing better and better stories. So it'll be good to get feedback right away.
Exactly. And by next week, I should be 100% better, so yay. I'll be able to read a little bit more clearly and all that good stuff.
Good.
Yay.
It'll be good. But I mean, you don't really sound as sick as you did last week.
I know, right? Isn't that amazing? But that's it for this week's episode, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in. See you again next week. Bye.
Bye. And the recording starts.
Like a complete asshole.
Ah, perfect. That's exactly the first part of the recording.
Hold on, I gotta drink my water.
As soon as the recording starts, asshole. Generally.
Yeah, I hear her.
Yeah. Company was my own thoughts.
Oh my god, throw her out!
Oh, so that's not Alan. Steve.